Hello Markham Gardens family, Daniel Markham here with the Markham Gardens. Guys, last video you guys tuned in for the showing you how to prune young peach trees, and we went ahead and pruned all of the peach trees here on the property. If you saw that video, guys, you know it was a little bit shocking on a couple of them, but I promise you those peach trees are going to be just fine. Guys, if you missed that video, if you'd go back and check it out, we walked through the process. I gave some tips just for pruning and structuring your young peach trees into heavy producing trees. And so today we're going to go ahead and carry on that series. We're going to be pruning our apple trees and our pear trees. We have 3 apple trees on this property. One of them is a cinnamon spice apple. The other one is an Einsheimer apple. And then the third one that we have is just for pollination. That is a crab apple. So we're gonna see what we can do with that one too. But we've also got a couple pear trees on the property as well, and we're gonna go ahead and prune those, and I'm gonna show you how to get that done today. So follow along with me, guys. All right, guys, so the first pear tree that we're gonna work on today is a Warren pear. And this particular one, I've already pruned this thing once. I did it this last season and started out its initial structuring. Now, if we get up over the top here, you're gonna see that what the structure that I've given it is this Y shape. So I have one main branch here, we've got one main branch here, and we've got another one growing off there. And I've already begun the typical wine glass structure, guys, this bowl that we have, keeping the center cleared out. And so I've already done this one a little bit. You can see the structure that we've got going here. Let me go ahead and spin around this tree, and you'll see that this structure continues no matter where we are around this tree. Now, since structuring it into this, we have had a few branches that have come off of this, right? So we've got one that comes back towards the center here. We know that we don't want this coming back towards the center. We don't want to fill up our bowl, right? We don't want to fill up our wine glass area. We want sun to be able to get into the middle of this. We want air in here for good air circulation. So we know that this branch is going to come off. We know that we've got this branch that comes out here. This one's great. We can leave this one. This one is not a problem. We don't have any branches that are aiming downward. That one's fine. However, you can see here in the middle on this back branch that we had one branch that decided it was going to grow off the base of one of our main limbs and grow right up into the center of everything here. I want to leave these main limbs, and I don't want to add any more limbs but these 3 main limbs. And then up here is where all of our other branches will come off of those main limbs. So we've got one here that comes right up in the dead center of everything. That is going to be removed. So we're going to come down here, we're going to remove this. So in our last video, I talked about where exactly you want to prune on these branches. And let me get in here where you can see it really well. When we do prune this branch, guys, we want to come in here, and you can see this right here is what's called the collar. You can see that little bit of a wrinkle right here, and this whole area right here is called the collar. What you want to do is you want to cut this branch as close to that collar as possible. You don't want to cut into your main branch, and you don't want to leave too much of this branch. You don't want to leave it way out here, because then the tree's going to have difficulty healing over that entire piece of limb, therefore leaving a piece of limb exposed to disease and borers and insects and all sorts of stuff like that. So you want to go ahead and trim that down as far as you can, as close as you can to the collar right there. And let me go ahead and show you guys real quick. Now I'm going to come as close as I can there and go ahead and we're going to cut this branch off. Now you can see we've got a little bit of a nub here. If you want to, you can come back in, you can recut that again just to make sure that it's nice and close. But you can see that's about how far we want to go down, guys. We don't want to go down into this main limb. We just want to leave just a little bit there and come in as close as we can with that collar. And that right there is a good cut, guys. That will do well for it. So let me go ahead and set you guys up, and I'll show you what we've done here. Now, I do want to show you, I've got a limb here that's coming in the dead center, and I've got a limb here that's coming into the dead center. But these are grafted, guys. There is a pear tree that a client of mine has that his family has had for, I think he said it was close to 60 years or so. And they didn't want to lose the pear tree. So what I've done is I've attempted to graft a couple branches of that pear tree just so he doesn't lose the genetics. And I'll be able to air layer these and turn them into new trees in case that tree of theirs dies, because he did say that it was on its way out. So I am going to leave these two branches. They are growing in the center where nothing else is going to be allowed to grow, so it's going to be obvious that these two branches don't belong to this tree. So that's why I've done that. So when looking at this tree and this particular structure of this tree, we do have one branch here that does come towards the center. And I really don't want that one coming towards the center. We've got another one that comes off and heads out this direction, which is the direction that we want it to go. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. So we've got several nubs down here on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and remove these as well. Want to make sure that we clean up the entire inside of this tree. Now we do have a little branch here that's growing out, but it is below our main branches, and I really don't need this one going out because it almost is aiming downward. So we'll go ahead and get rid of anything that's aiming downward as well. You can see we've got another one here. This one has grown off and has started aiming downward. That's not going to work for us. We've also got another one here that's aiming downward. So you can see this branch is good. This branch has everything aiming up the direction that we want it to go. You can see this branch here, other than the one that I'm grafting here. You can see here on this branch, we've got one that comes towards the center there. But other than that, oh, there's another one. You see that one, guys? That's coming back towards the center of the tree. We don't want that. But the rest of these are good. The rest of these are growing in a direction that we want. So that'll work, guys. That's the first pear tree. Now, I do see here that we've got one branch that's about this level. The other branch is roughly about that same level. We've got one little nub here that is sticking up higher. I'm going to go ahead and lop that off. But I'm going to do it right above a bud that heads out away from the tree. You can see that this branch over here is quite a bit higher than these other two branches. So I'm going to go ahead and balance this out, and I'm going to do so by taking off this main one right here. See, now we've balanced this tree out. Let me step back here so you can see. It's got great structure. That is really hard to see with all that stuff in the background, isn't it? If I keep moving, maybe you can see, but you can see we've got really good structure, and we've now trimmed this tree up to the way that we want it. So here's our second pear tree, and this one here is a Monterey pear tree. And per typical like pear trees, most pear trees want to shoot for the sky, and you guys can see this thing is absolutely shooting for the sky. So we do not want it to shoot for the sky, because 9 times out of 10, all of our pears are going to be way up here in the top of the tree, and I'm not going to be able to get to them. So we're going to do some drastic measures on this tree to force it to put out new limbs out here that we can restructure, which means we're going to have to cut this tree down quite a bit to get it to do that, and to force it to do that. So what we're going to do is, we have a natural fork that's happening right here, but it's not a very wide fork. And so what I want to do is I want to force some of these buds, like this lower one here. I want that one to grow out. I want that one to grow out. I want some of these lower buds like this one here to grow outward and then begin training them so that they grow similar to the last pear tree you just saw, a wine glass form. So we are going to do some pretty drastic stuff with this tree, guys. We're going to come back in here and we're going to force these tiny little buds right here that you can see. These ones, we're going to force those to grow. And we're going to get rid of all of this stuff that's up here on the top that is not growing in a wine glass form like we like. So it is not going to hurt this tree, guys. It will come back. It will do exactly what we want it to do. We just need to make it happen. So I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to go ahead and chop that off. So you can see I have come in and I've taken that entire branch and I've chopped it off, just leaving these little nubs. So there's a nub there, there's another nub there, another one there. There's even another one here on this other side. And what we're going to do is allow those branches to grow now. They will sprout out new as soon as it warms up and start growing some more branches out to the sides so that we can give this tree some structure. So I'm going to come in the same thing with this next limb, and I'm going to go ahead and chop this one off, leaving these little buds like this. But we're going to go ahead and chop this one down too, to a lower level. All right, guys, so you can see we've chopped it off pretty drastically. In fact, we've left no limbs on it except for these two. And the reason why is because, like I said, we want to go ahead and promote these little buds like this one right here to start growing out so that we can create a bowl structure. And by chopping it down this far, guys, this peach tree is now going to try to put out growth on this main stem down here. And if it does so, we may get some really nice branches that start to come out to the side instead of growing straight up for the sky to give this thing some structure. So we've gone as far as we can go with this one. I don't want to cut it down anymore. Now you could come down here and chop this peach tree off right here, and it will not hurt this tree, guys. You chop it to here, and in spring, it's going to go ahead and throw out new branches all along the base of this. And you could absolutely do that, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it some other options. I'm going to let it grow those out, and I'm going to let it grow out some stuff on these two limbs just to give me more choices. So very similar to pear trees, guys, apple trees. So apple trees are very similar in the way that they grow. They don't necessarily aim for the sky. There's a few varieties that definitely aim for the sky like pear trees do, but not quite as bad as pear trees. But we do have two pear trees, like I mentioned. We've got an Einsheimer, and the Einsheimer is the one that we're going to work on first. And let me show you that real quick. So this is our Einsheimer apple, and I'm telling you, as far as all the other trees that we've got, this Einsheimer took off. I mean, it has definitely grown well, put a lot of new growth out over the last year and a half. And so what I'm seeing here, though, is I see that we've got one branch out here. I wish they were all like this. One branch out here, really the way that we want it to go. We've got another branch over here that will work. I mean, we can leave this one. We've even got another one that kind of branches out off of that one that heads up here. But you can see we've got this giant limb here that's in the dead center of the tree. And we've got another limb over here that's in the dead center of the tree. And both of those are going to have to go. But you can see as we walk around here, we've got another limb here that comes off that looks pretty decent. It heads off a direction that we kind of want it to go, but we do have two conflicting branches. So I am going to go ahead and remove this branch right here, because this one comes across and rubs right into that other branch, and we don't want it rubbing on each other, and we want to make sure that none of these branches are crossing like that. So I will go ahead and remove that, but we will go ahead and keep this branch right here that's coming out. We will go ahead and keep this branch here, and we will go ahead and keep this branch here. But these two branches here, they got to go, guys. All right, there's one major branch off, guys. We've gone ahead and removed that one. Now, we've got this branch here that's coming up in the dead center as well. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that branch as well. So now you can see we've got our structure beginning out here. Now I do have a really nice limb right here that is coming out as a bowl and then heads upward. This branch here comes way out here, and I'm really looking for sort of this small shape. So I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to trim this off. We're going to go down to just that piece right there, guys. And now we're going to come over here. We're going to look at this one. This one here is a great branch, but I do have one branch that comes back into the center here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. We've got another little spur that comes into the center. In fact, we've got several little spurs that come into the center here, and I really don't want those coming into the center. This is that branch, guys, that I was telling you about that is crossing over. So we're going to go ahead and take that one off as well. If you look at the height that we've done of this branch, I want to basically even everything out around this whole tree at that height, so everything gets that start so that it's even as it grows up. So we do have this limb here that is about that height. We've got another one here that's trying to grow really nicely. Let's go ahead and cut this one right here. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this and pull that off. We've got one main branch here that comes off to the side, but I want to even them out with these other ones. I don't want these branches staying up here because, as I've told you guys in the past, the taller branches are going to release a hormone from the tip that is going to travel down and tell the rest of the tree not to put a lot of growth down here and to focus growth on the top of the tree. And so I really want to get rid of this growth tip that's way up here in the sky, so that the tree will send growth hormone into all of these lower branches to put on more growth as well. So we're going to go down here, and I'm going to pick one of these buds. So you can see that all along this limb, you can see that there are little growth buds. There's one there, there's one there. I mean, they go all the way up the tree. And so what I want to do when I'm trimming this tree, guys, is I want to make sure that I'm trimming it with the top growth bud that I leave heading in the direction that I want this branch to go. Because most of the growth hormone is going to go into that top bud, and it's going to grow out the direction that it's facing. So I want to make sure that when I cut this top one, you can see it's not as far out bold as I really want it to be. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick one of these that is heading outward. And I can see one right here that's growing outward. And then as we go down, I can see, oh, there's another one outward. And that's about the height that I want, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right there. Now we're going to do the same thing on this other branch, because I am going to go ahead and leave this other branch. You can see that this branch here actually has a nice spur on it that's heading out the direction that we want it to go. But I'm going to go ahead and get this one cut to where it also has a growth spur heading in the direction that we want. Now I can see right here, you see that one right there? That one is heading away from the center of the tree. It'll head out this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right there. So let me set you guys back so you can see the structure that we're starting to build of this tree. See, now you can see that we're cut it all about the same size, and we're starting to achieve what looks a lot more like a wine glass shape to it. You can see similar structure to the pear tree that we did, guys. You see that? So we've got that same kind of wine glass structure now happening on this apple tree. So I think we're good with this one, guys. Now let's head over here to this cinnamon spice. This cinnamon spice has a crazy structure right now. And the reason why is because this lead right here was the original tree. When I bought it, it had this lead that came up here, and it really struggled. This one took a long time to get growing, and I think there may have been some issues with the roots getting established in this particular spot. And so when that happened, it decided to send out a new lead down here on the bottom that you guys see. And the new lead is actually stronger and larger than this one is right here. And so what I really need to do, guys, is decide which one I want to keep. Do I want to keep this one here, or do I want to leave two leads, two different trunks on this tree? And honestly, I really don't. I don't want two different trunks. I want one main trunk on this tree. And so it makes it difficult because there's all this beautiful growth up here. And then we've got this one over here that's actually starting to give me somewhat of a structure to this tree. It's got this sort of wine glass automatic structure with this other limb back here in the back that's starting to happen. And I kind of more want to keep that because this one up here just has no structure and is heading everywhere. So what we're going to do is, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove that original branch. We're going to go ahead and move to this one right here. We're going to go ahead and keep this. So we do have our tag that's on this particular branch. So if you are tagging your trees, which I'll show you what I use. I use these little metal tags, guys. I use these little metal tags right here, and you can basically write in them. They're just a indenting metal tag, and cinnamon spice apple. And then they don't rust, they don't get old and crumble and fall off. They last for a long time. So we'll go ahead and remount this to our tree somewhere. Okay guys, so what we've got here is we've got one limb coming off the correct direction. We've got another limb coming off the correct direction. We even have one here on the back that's going pretty well. And I think these three are gonna be my main source of structure. I think that's what we're gonna stick with. So I'm gonna go ahead and come in with these two center ones. We're just gonna knock those off. And then I've got this limb down here. This one will start growing. And I don't necessarily need to take these two branches down to this level, but I do need to knock the tops off of these branches so that the growth hormone does reroute to this other one as well. So let's go ahead and do that now. We'll go ahead and knock this one down to here. And I'll go ahead and take this one here. And again, we're going to go ahead and pick a bud that's heading in the direction that we want it to go. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use that one right there. Obviously, we've been pretty drastic with it, but I want to make sure we get good structure out of it. So you can see we've got a wine glass structure starting already. Now, this one's not ideal. If you come to the side, you'll see this one doesn't come out quite as far as we'd like it to. It kind of goes at an angle, but I did leave a bud that heads off that direction. And so that will correct that. We really need this one to be over here. So I've left a bud that's going to go ahead and grow out that direction to go ahead and correct that for us. But you can see we've started our structure here on this tree as well. So cinnamon spice apple. All right, guys, so the last tree that we've got here is our crab apple. And this thing's kind of going nuts. Now, I do not necessarily need this thing structured for heavy production. This tree is mainly here just for pollination, guys. Basically, all I'm going to do is come clean it up, right? So I'm going to get some of these smaller branches off the bottom. I'll go ahead and take off some of these lower limbs off of here. This one's heading for the ground, so we'll go ahead and take this one off. We've got another one here, as you can see, comes out and then heads for the ground, so we'll go ahead and take that one off as well. We've got some little tiny branches here that we don't need, that are just kind of clustering everything up. We've got a branch there heading for the ground. Got another one here that's kind of heading straight out sideways. Don't need that. We do have a branch here that is growing into another branch, so we'll go ahead and cut that one off. We've got some that are down here on the bottom, so we'll go ahead and take those off. We've got a limb here that's kind of aiming for the ground as well. We've got one here that's crossing. We've got another one here that's crossing. We've got this double one here that is really in the way, so we're going to take that off. Now, as I said, guys, I don't need this in a particular wine glass look. In fact, this particular tree, I'm okay with it growing for the sky. It's crab apples, and I'm probably not going to make jams out of it. This tree is specifically here just for pollination. So I'm actually going to grow this one to a point where it heads up and gives shade to all of our other trees for summertime. So now what we'll do is we'll come in here and we're just going to trim everything about the same height. So our two lowest limbs, you can see what height those are at. This one I'm going to actually bring it back just a little bit. We've actually got a growth bud that's starting. You can see it's already starting to try to wake up. And so we'll come back on this one here too. We're going to trim this one back just a little bit. And now we're going to bring all these other branches down to that same height. All right, guys, so we have gone ahead and we've cut this one down. We've cleaned up the structure a whole bunch. Just cleaned up the trunk, guys. We just cleaned that up just so we don't have a whole bunch of little suckers coming out. And we're going to go ahead and keep with these branches. I might go ahead and trim this to be sort of a large bush over here. But that'll do it for the crabapple. Not a huge deal. And not sure how many of you have crab apples that you're going to want to prune. But if you do, you can trim them with the same structure that you do your apple and pear trees in that wine glass structure if you'd like, if you're looking for heavy production. I'm just looking for the blooms, guys. It's just here to help pollinate these other apple trees that I've got. So, but there's our crab apple. There's our Warren pear. There's the absolute butchered Monterey pear. And you guys will see that one will grow back. Don't be afraid to trim and prune your fruit trees, guys. This is not going to hurt this tree at all. I know to some of you, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to kill the tree. It's not going to kill the tree, guys. It's dormant right now. And as soon as it wakes up, it's going to know, this is what I have to work with. I need to put growth out of these spots. So right over here, we've got our Einsheimer apple that we've built a structure to now. And then right over here, we've got our cinnamon spice apple that's got a good start now. Anyway, guys, I know I keep stressing this over and over, but I just really don't want you to be afraid to prune your fruit trees. This is the pears and the apples, and we are going to cover some of these other ones, guys. Stay tuned. I am going to put out some more videos. We've still got the plums. We've still got the apricots. We've got the persimmon. We've even got a couple loquats, and we've got a whole bunch of mulberry that we need to take care of. In fact, that mulberry right there, I don't know, man. We're gonna trim it down and turn it into a big bush, because the more bushy they are, the more fruit you get. But stay tuned for those, guys. Thank you for watching today. Hope you guys got something out of it. If you've got some apple and pear trees and you're wondering how to prune them and how to get them started, some young trees, this is how you do it, guys. Mainly, don't be afraid. So thank you for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. And if you've missed any of our previous videos, guys, go back and check all those out. I think we've almost got 100 videos now. But anyway, if you liked the video today, guys, if you would go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, guys, please give us a thumbs up, but go ahead and comment down in the below in the comment section and let us know how we can do it better, how we can make it more entertaining, how we can make it to where you like the videos more. Give us feedback, guys. I'm not afraid of feedback. Give me something that will help us make the channel better for you. If you've got any recommendations on things you'd like to see, or if there's anything about this pruning today that I just didn't show you what you really needed to see, or if you've got an idea of something you'd really like to see close up, let me know and I'll see if I can go ahead and get you the information on how to go about doing that, or to show you in a better way so that you can see it better. So anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Shalom under the dome.